looking at the camera. Pew! The first thing I want to show you is the lathe. It's a small gunsmith lathe made by Grizzly. You know, we don't do a whole lot of big pipeline pieces or anything like that. It's mostly small things such as shift knobs. You know, if we need to turn some brake rotors down, some V-bands, some small, you know, weld-on brackets or anything like that, or bungs, this is perfect for it. Didn't need anything really big. It's got a digital readout, which is great because it helps you, you know, be precise with your cuts and how far you need to turn something down instead of using digital calipers and checking and rechecking and rechecking. So it's perfect for that. We got a 3-jaw chuck as well as a 4-jaw chuck. So if we need to put like square tubing or something like that in there, we can do that and turn it around. Let's move on to the next thing. The next thing I'd like to show you is the Bridgeport mill. It's a 2J model. I think it's a 70 or 71. It has a converter on here for changing the frequency. Instead of getting a 3-phase converter, this is what we're running on here. We use it every now and then. We use it on a couple projects. Mostly just kind of stays over here. It's just a shop piece. Hopefully, you know, have some more projects to be able to use it on in the next coming years. But it's great. You know, I picked this up a couple months ago and got it situated over here and have had no issues with it whatsoever. Another thing I'd like to show you is this Miller Synchrowave 250. We have 2 of these here at the shop that are ready to go. Both have bottles and both have leads on them. They are 2015 models, very low hours on these. The story that I got behind them is they sat in the back of a warehouse, never really got used a whole lot. We use the amphoteric cups on mostly all the machines as far as stainless and steel goes, and then just a generic cup for aluminum. Both machines are water cooled. Like I said, low hours, super clean machines. You know, they're a little dusty from sitting in here. I guess you could say that I'm a blue kind of guy. I love these Miller machines. This is the MIG welder, the main one that we use. It's a Millermatic 252. It's all digital. These units are about $2,800 new. I picked this one up used. It does great. You know, I've used these things for years. This one I've had here for a while now. This is a Millermatic 140. It's a 110 volt machine. I also bought this one used. Haven't used it yet. It's just been sitting. Hopefully one day I'll either have a guy that'll be on it using it or just use it for mobile welding jobs. I'm a super big fan of the Milwaukee tools, especially the fuel editions. You know, everything works great, and I've never had an issue with anything except maybe a trigger here or there. You know, I continue to buy it. I buy it in bulk. There's tools here that I've never even touched in my life to use, and there's tools here that I use every day, and there's tools that I've used once and I've kept it. And you never know when you're going to need something, so it makes it really handy to have. I have doubles of some things because I leave them in my trailer for racing, and then, you know, some stuff just came in a big bundle, so there was nothing I could do about it. The mag drill is a really cool piece. It's got a magnetic base, electronically magnetic base, which can magnetize to, you know, a thick sheet of metal like a table or the frame of a truck or whatever you're trying to drill on. You know, up and down motion. So, you know, the magnet off, you know, it's movable freely. Turn the magnet on. I mean, this thing is stout. So it does great. I've used them years ago drilling frames on some Fords. You know, cut out a section on the table here. I'll show you that. Just to be able to put you know, metal across and drill it and go. I think this is by far my most favorite piece of equipment here is this CNC plasma cutting table. Used it to cut out brackets, signs, you know, anything out of metal. They make a router attachment for it, which I think would be fantastic to get one day. It's got a water bed on here, which I've let it get kind of low now and need to fill it back up, and, you know, keeps the metal from warping, keeps the smoke down. We're running a Hypertherm Power 45 XP. Got this cool magnetic head that senses any kind of bump detection, and you see the light there if it bumps onto something, which is really neat. Like I said, that water helps keep everything cool, keeps the smoke down and keeps it from warping. So it's got nice clean edges on there. I just replaced the consumables not too long ago. That hole was already there. But yeah, so it makes cutting everything, super fast, super easy. The longest time is drawing it up the first time, but after that, I mean, you can just cut insane amounts of parts in a matter of minutes. Another cool piece of equipment that we have here is this Evolution saw. It cuts metal chips with a metal disc instead of using an abrasive chop saw disc. I love it. It keeps all the dust down. It's not really good for cutting stainless if you have to, hold a piece in the saw by hand to cut on like a bend or, even aluminum. But if you have something that's able to be clamped down and clamped down strong, it's perfect for that. This is my 48-inch foot stomp shear. The brand is Niagara. It's a pretty old looking machine, but it does really well for its age. It's super simple to use. Make your measurement on your sheet or whatever you're cutting, and line up the edge of it on each side of the bottom blade, typically. Whatever you're comfortable with, that's always the easiest. And then you just slip it in there and try to make a small sliver. Push down. I mean, just like that, I don't know if you can see that, but we took off a super small sliver from that piece, and it'll take off even smaller. I just wanted something that was easy for me to find in the pile of slivers that are under there. And it leaves you with a nice clean edge on there too. Another piece of equipment that we have here is called the box and pan brake. And what it is it has these fingers on here that you can move any which position you need to, and if you need to pull two corners of a piece of metal up to make a box, that's what this is good for. And now I just want to show you guys a box and pan brake, just to demonstrate it, since I've demonstrated everything else. Let's say we already have a bend on the one side and we want to fold this edge up. Well, the problem is that if you get where it's completely solid and you go to bend this up, this already bent side is going to hit the the fingers here, or if you have a solid deal. So what this is good for is you can put it right there on the edge of it, and I know this is just a scrap piece, but you can see where it's been boxed in that corner now. So if it was longer or shorter or whatever shape that you had to do, this is a good way to do it. I've showed you the box and pan brake, which is good for 48-inch wide pieces or less. It's also good for making small boxes. Your chances of you making a box that's bigger than that, probably slim to none. But this is a 10-foot brake, which is super amazing. Another one of those old machines that just works great as long as you take care of it. It's got these big counterweights on here. I had a project that I needed to bend a piece that was 6 feet long, and this was perfect for it, so I went ahead and picked this up, and I used it ever since I've gotten it. I probably use it 3 times a week. So it's definitely one of those machines that, yeah, you're going to spend a little bit of money at first, but it's going to pay itself off in the end. And again, like the box and pan brake, you're just going to clamp the ends down. And then go ahead and I don't know if you can see that bend on there or not. Filming with a GoPro, so I'm not sure how good or not good that the view's coming out. That's one of those good machines to have. This is a 36-inch bead roller from Bally Industrial. This is another one of those that you're going to spend a little bit of money on at first, but it's going to pay itself off in the end. This machine is fantastic. I bought a couple extra dies with it when I did buy it, and I probably need to buy some more to add to my collection. But this is great for sheet metal. You can put a bead roll in it, it'll help stiffen it up. Or if you're making a dash and you don't want just a plain sheet of sheet metal on there, it adds some character to it. Also good for intercooler piping ends to put a bead roll on there so it doesn't slip off the coupler if you do choose to use couplers. This is just a piece of scrap tubing. We're going to go ahead and throw a bead on it just to give you an idea, show you what I'm talking about. I love it. I recommend it. It's one of those things that, if you're not going to use it more than 3 times a year, probably don't get one. But if you feel like you're going to use it over and over, definitely a good investment to have. Obviously, if this was a customer's piece, we would have deburred it and all that beforehand. But this is just for demonstration purposes only. So this is what would come from like a factory, if you got something bead rolled or bought some intercooler piping that's pre-made. And then this is what we just did on the machine. Obviously, can do it closer to the edge. Like I said, this was just a demonstration purpose only. And just wanted to give you guys some insight on what the machine does and what it's capable of doing. Another example is this piece of sheet metal that we just bent up. We'll go ahead and put a roll in that. And I'm just going to run a marker down this. And it has a variable speed pedal, so you can go slow or fast, depending on how comfortable you're with it. Or if you're getting to a corner, you have excellent control over the speed of the machine. You can see we put that roll in there and you see where it stopped. Same thing on the other side. Since the start of the shop tour video, I've acquired a bunch of new tools and accessories for the shop. This tube roller bender just so happens to be one of them. It's double-sided. One side has multiple dies for large tubing, square tubing, and then the other side has smaller dies, for your smaller diameter tubing. I've had it for less than a week and I've already started to put it to work. I'm building a roll cage on a Corvette. A few things I want to touch on just right quick. They're important to the shop, but it's nothing too crazy to go over. This is a tubing bender that we use to bend up all the roll cages, as well as all the tube bumpers and other tube parts that we do. It's built by Gray Machine Co. It does 90-degree bends, sometimes just a hair over 90. It's got a foot pedal here for air over hydraulic. The die comes with 4 different sizes, all the way from 1 inch up to 1 3/4 inches, and very rarely do we do anything bigger than that. The other thing that I want to show you is this tubing notcher. These are, cheap, relatively cheap notchers. This is a Woodward Fab model, and I think it was, less than $100, probably $90 or $70 for it. I've had it for a few years now, and just recently had to go and fix the vise on it. The thread stripped out, and this thing has gotten its use. It's got a dedicated drill press attached to it that the shaft has been welded to, as well as the chuck. This thing vibrates a lot, especially when you're cutting tubing, and just tends to come loose. So here it sits as a permanent unit now. This is our shop cat. His name is Kidder. He had a brother who's no longer with us, but he's been here for almost a year now. He's a great cat. He's great at catching mice and other critters outside. He just loves being around people. This is Patches. She showed up to the shop one day and she just never left. So she's the newest shop cat we have, and she's such a sweet girl. I wanted to thank you for joining me on the shop tour today. We work on any vehicles, anything from Corvettes to 240s, Camaros, and more. We specialize a lot in stainless exhaust tubing, intercooler piping, and roll cages, as well as aftermarket bumpers. And we're not just automotive related. I'm expanding the shop to more fabrication to be more versatile. So if you need brackets made for your company, or whatever the case may be, we can do it. I just want to say thanks again for watching along and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.